Welcome back to the OKC Foodcast, your guide to the food in Oklahoma. You're joined by your hosts, as always. I'm Nabil.
And this is Christina.
And our two special guests, Mark and Sam with TapTapEat. And we will get to TapTapEat and everything that they do. But first, our favorite thing we ate this week. Christina, do you want to start us off?
Yeah. Okay. So I want to give a shout out to Flower Child, which is this really fun restaurant in the Nichols Hills area. I think it's like right on Western and 63rd Street. I went there last Friday, I think, and I had their shrimp teriyaki dish. I thought at first that this place was just a vegan restaurant, and which is why I wasn't too eager to visit the restaurant at first. Because I really thought it was just a vegan place, and I do love meats, which is why I didn't really go. But I just gave it a chance, and I went, and I was.
You just don't like vegans. What?
Right? Let's just be honest here.
Just straight up.
But
you think you know a person.
You don't know me, Nabil. No, I'm joking. But I went there, and it was such a beautiful environment, and they have all sorts of options. It's not just a vegan menu, I was clearly mistaken. They have all sorts of proteins, and it's in a really great location. So that was a really fun place to go visit. So what was your eat of the week, Nabil?
My eat of the week was something that I made. We had a couple friends come over for brunch, and I made my version of shashuka. I don't know if you all are familiar with shashuka. It's essentially, it's an African tomato-based dish where they poach the eggs in like that sauce. And so when you eat it, it's like egg and tomatoes and cumin and all these warm, savory spices. But what I did was I just made the shashuka, the sauce by itself, and then I topped it with the scrambled eggs that I make. So it was kind of like a bruschetta, shashuka, open-faced open-faced egg sandwich kind of thing.
Yeah.
It was an interesting conglomeration of things. And then we topped it with strawberry coulis that I made, because I don't know if you all do this, but sometimes when I get breakfast sandwiches, like egg and cheese sandwiches, I like putting strawberry jam on it.
Sounds good.
Sounds unique. Yeah.
And so I was like, I like doing that. Let me see if I can incorporate that into something that I actually make. And so, yeah, that was my eat of the week. It was, if I do say so myself, delicious.
Nice.
Sounds like.
Pictures on Instagram.
So
how about you all?
Yeah, I would also have to cheat. I feel like it's Monday night, so the week started, I'm going to say 7 days ago.
We work on a rolling week.
That works for me.
Right.
I should like warn your visitor, your people that listen. Don't listen to your show hungry. I started listening, recently, and it's always on my way home, and you're hungry by the time you're done with work, and don't go to the grocery store after listening to you guys' podcast.
Oh my gosh.
It's a big danger. You'd end up with a $400 Sprouts grocery bill or something.
But you'll be eating well.
Yeah. That's very true. So yeah, my tan and Thai, chicken pad Thai is my thing to go. Like whenever I try a new Thai restaurant, I've always got to try, do they have the best, pad Thai chicken? But that would be mine. I don't know all that they put in it, but that's usually my to go. And tan and Thai is one of my favorite places to eat at. Yeah.
Yeah, I do like them. They're right there on May and Hefnerish.
Yeah.
Right. Mm-hmm. That's where they are. I used to go there a lot. Haven't been there in a while. Actually, I don't know why. I feel like this happens to everyone, where you frequent a place a lot and then it just suddenly just falls off your rotation.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. And you're like, wait, I haven't been there in a while. So, yeah, I'm going to have to give them a shot. So, you rate Thai places based on their pad Thai?
When I go to a restaurant, I feel like there ought to be a process. You need to try a very specific meal at every restaurant. Like if I'm going to go get a protein, I like getting pork chops.
Yeah.
And I don't necessarily rate the restaurant, but I always try the pork chop first.
That is so cool.
But like at a Thai restaurant, I always have to try their, chicken pad Thai. And line them up. But the other place that has really, really good chicken pad thai is Salad Thai down on 23rd is up there, like one of my top 2 places of getting Thai restaurant. But
We've mentioned this before, like when we go visit restaurants, we have like our baseline. Like, so for me, like sometimes I'll go to Italian restaurants and I'll always order, like if it's an Italian or just like a pizza place, I always want to order their Caesar salad.
Yeah.
Like I want to know how, like first I ask, like, is your Caesar dressing, is it made in house? And if it is, like, I want to know how anchovy, how much anchovies you put in there. Because if it's anchovy heavy, I know that I'm going to love it.
Yeah.
And if not, then I'm like, it's just not my favorite. so pork chops, that's cool.
Yeah, I like that you have a baseline. I think it's important. I'm a believer.
Yeah.
My turn?
Yes, your turn.
I actually get a kick out of hearing Sam talk about developing a process for eating, because he is the process guy in our business. He just
I thought you were going to say something completely opposite.
No. Process and procedure over and over and over. And now he's wanting to develop a process for restaurants. So good stuff. No, I'm really going to dumb down this conversation. I didn't eat anywhere really exquisite in the last week, and had couple dinners of macaroni and cheese with my girls, but I like salsa. So we've got a couple of Mexican restaurants close in Edmond that are great clients of ours: Alfredo's Mexican Cafe and Chilino's. And I would put them up against each other, and we kind of have battles in the office, which one's better. So, but Alfredo's green sauce, if you ever eat at Alfredo's, and Chilino's has a guacamole salsa that is just awesome.
A guacamole salsa.
Guacamole salsa.
Okay,
yeah.
we'll have to
it's
get
a little
into
spicy
this.
too, though.
Okay,
but it's well worth the order. I think it's only $1. It's really good stuff. So I had both of those in the last week, and I would put them side by side and just eat them all week long. It's good stuff. If you can make a chip really flavorful for me, I'm happy.
Yeah.
Nice. It's
So-
the little things.
I know, right? So that guacamole salsa, is it avocado or guacamole mixed into salsa, or is it a little bit of salsa mixed into a guacamole?
No, it's more of a salsa. Yeah. So
Okay.
the guacamole is pretty. I don't know, pretty mashed up, I guess.
Okay.
It's good. It's
like a creamier salsa.
It's a creamier salsa.
Okay.
That's exactly
Nice.
right. With quite a bit of kick to it. So,
Okay.
Especially if you add their habanero salsa together with it.
Ooh, there you go. Now you're talking.
Delicious.
When I used to frequent Ted's a while back, when they had the habanero salsa, which they don't anymore, unless they've changed that again, because who knows what happens at restaurants sometimes. But that was the thing. Like, we'd get their cheese sauce, some of the atomic salsa, a little bit of habanero salsa,
Mix it up.
and mix it up.
Yep.
Man, all right, you talk my language. I like it. Got to make your own little special mixes at restaurants.
Yeah.
You said don't listen to the episode while hungry. I say don't record the episode while
Oh
hungry.
my gosh.
Because right now I'm like, man, some salsa would be really good.
No, I feel like my stomach just grumbled, and I really hope that was picked up on the microphone. So.
Oh, we heard it here. No,
Oh no. Well,
no, I'm
you're
just
welcome.
kidding.
No.
Yeah, man, now I can't stop thinking about food. Anyway, TapTapEat. I think what you all are doing for the restaurant industry, specifically in Oklahoma, because obviously a local company, right? And doing a lot to help the local restaurants get online and get ahead of this trend. I think Christina was rattling off some stats before
Yeah.
when we were chatting about
Yeah.
how the adoption rate and how people are more likely and apt to order online as opposed to
Dine in.
dining in.
Yeah.
And that's, probably a variety of reasons. 2020 being probably a major one of them, but then also just the way consumer habits are shifting online. And so we'll get into all of that, because I think this is going to be a very exciting and insightful conversation about a different side of the industry.
Yeah, the
that
logistics, right?
That we
Like,
usually don't
what's-
talk about, right? We talk about the food, and we'll obviously chat a little about that as well. But first things first, tell us about yourselves and how TapTapEat came to life.
Yeah.
Sure, I'll jump in. I was born in California, lived in California for about 14 years, then moved to Texas. My dad was a pastor, and so we kind of moved every few years. And then from Texas, went to college at Southern Nazarene, and that started in 97. So I've been here roughly since 1997, kind of been in and around the food industry, or really just in Oklahoma City, but, have been and seen, what has happened in the restaurant industry since then. I already forgot your other questions.
How did TapTapEat come to become TapTapEat?
Yeah. Like, how did you guys connect, or how did you guys meet to form this idea?
Yeah, Mark and I are actually runners, and that's how we met. His cousin or second cousin, some kind of relation, introduced me to Mark, and I ran against him when I ran at Southern Nazarene against his cousin at Oklahoma Christian, and we met through local road racing, and I was like, hey, I want to train with somebody faster than me, and started.
Did you just say that?
I did.
Oh, no,
We have it on record now.
That was a big whoops, huh? No, seriously, like, that's where my mind was at. Was like, hey, here's Mark. He's a pretty quick guy. I want to train with somebody fast, and we started, training together, and that's kind of how we met. Over the years, we would go around the U.S. really trying to look for what we were trying to obtain, which was subbing 4 in the mile. Let's just say one of us made it. One of us got close.
Yeah, very close.
And from there, that relationship, it kind of grew to, like, we ended up coaching together at Oklahoma Christian. And I'll let Mark probably get into more details there. And that kind of waned a little bit. And since, what did we say, 2017, Mark called me up. It's like, hey, I've got an idea. I want to be able to order my lunch from, you rattled off a couple different places, and I was like, that sounds fun. I've never really developed before. I always wanted to develop, because my background in business is really just it was infrastructure and information technology. Never really been able to develop an application, and so that's kind of I knew Mark's history because he did some stuff for Oklahoma Christian when we coached there. Really on the client side about, like, tracking runners and their times and their splits, and adding that stuff to organized data to be able to report on it later was pretty slick. So I knew he had the chops to be able to do that, and so we kind of put together TapTapEat. And I don't want to ruin all of the parade here, so I'll let Mark jump in and go ahead.
Yeah, I'll kind of tell my version of it succinctly if I can. So I'm from Oklahoma originally, born at Mercy Hospital, just right down the road here, and went to high school here in Edmond, Oklahoma, and then spent 8 years in Fayetteville, Arkansas. Went over there to run cross country and track for the University of Arkansas.
Razorbacks?
Nice. Razorbacks, yeah, for sure.
Woo pig. Yeah. And stayed there for a few years, taught high school physics for a few years, and just had a good time. And then ended up moving back closer to family, and eventually my wife's family was from around here as well. And I've been in Oklahoma again since 2005. So, and yeah, I do remember the day that Sam came up to me after a road race and said, hey, do you want to train together? And I was like, well, not really.
Do I have a choice?
He was just coming off an injury and wasn't that fast at the time, and I thought, well, I guess. But Sam, from that day, as soon as he started training with me, boy, he just made me better.
I thought you were going to say he got a lot get a lot better. He got a lot better. And just adding friction to this training. And
no, early on. I mean, he'll attest to this, that, early on he would come to the track to work out and just get hammered. I mean, he was really, really sucking wind around the track, but he loved it. And he kept coming back for more. And pretty soon, it was not long before he was really pushing me hard. And then we kind of came in with the same coach together and had a great relationship with a guy named Ashley Benjamin, was his name. That was just a gracious guy. So fun to run for. And he coached us both, and really just developed a good, healthy friendship and a bit of a rivalry, but not too bad.
A friendly rivalry.
It was a friendly rivalry. So fast forward a few years, and we'd lost our speed, but we would still try to get together in the summer and just go out to the track and just at least do a little bit of physical activity out there. And that's when when I approached him and said, "Hey Sam, I think I can actually do something with my development skill." I hadn't ever done anything of monetary value with my development skills up to that point, and it came out of the consumer side. So I was the consumer.
The necessity.
I would wake up and I would put in my coffee order for the morning at Starbucks, was just right along the way to work. And then at lunchtime I would order, I was at Kimray at the time, which is down around 50th Street, and Iron Star Barbecue was nearby. And they had just a wonderful bowl of chili that was not terribly expensive, but still had some good flavor to it. So I would order chili there, like a lot. They knew me.
They knew you. You walked in, here's your bowl, sir.
Yeah, but I couldn't order it the way that I had ordered my Starbucks. So there was an inefficiency to it. I had to call them on the phone, and the answer was, hello, can you hold? No, my time's more valuable than that. And then having to pay with my card when I get there. And I saw the niche from the consumer side that said, if we could replicate what Starbucks does for their customers, and do it at a bunch of smaller restaurants. Just people aren't doing that yet. At least not in Oklahoma, they weren't doing that yet. And that's where the idea kind of popped. And that's where I brought Sam in and said, I need you to help me with this because you make me better at the things that I do. And I didn't mention that together we also won a national championship as coaches. So I was a head coach and he was an assistant coach for Oklahoma Christian cross country. And we just had a blast, running and training with the team and making each other better and helping make our kids, our athletes better. So there was a proven track record of success and friendship.
I see what you did there.
It came naturally. Track record,
Well done.
Yeah, you sure?
Nice.
You see what I did there? Yeah.
I love that. It's, I think it's just so special when partnerships form that way, like with friends, old friends, even if they form after college, and one thing being like athleticism, running, and then transform that into
geek world.
Business tech. That's so neat. I love that.
But and I bet like that thought that you had from the consumer side, that is definitely there's a barrier for restaurants to be able to implement that, right? Starbucks can do it because they've got hundreds and thousands of locations, and they can invest that time and money into developing a platform that's allowing them to do it. So you developed a platform for the one-offs, the mom and pop shops, the smaller 1-2 location places to be able to essentially do the same thing.
That's right.
And I've used TapTapEat.
Thank you.
You're welcome. It was the first time I saw the name, because I'm trying to remember the first time I came across it. I think it was when I was ordering from either Burger Punk or Revolucion, because they were operating from the same kitchen during COVID times. PC pre-COVID.
Sure, sounds good.
Yeah, we can start using that. Before, in PC times. And that could be a multiple of things, right? Politically correct times. It's all been 2020. But I got redirected to TapTapEat because it's obviously TapTapEat / wherever it goes, because you're running off of your platform. I was like, oh, that's a fun name, TapTapEat. How did that come around? There you go.
You're asking?
How'd you come up with TapTapEat? I mean, it seems like when you were talking about like your running background, it makes it seem like it was built for speed. And so when you were saying that, I was like, I feel like this name is starting to make sense, but I kind of want to know where.
So part of it is when you go looking for a domain name. So we're a web-based.
What's taken?
That's right. Yeah. And so I'm scrubbing through GoDaddy, looking for all the possible combinations of tapping and eating and fork and whatever. I don't even remember now all the ones that I was trying, but I wanted to convey simplicity. I wanted to convey that this process is going to be easier to get you from the start of your order to getting your food than anything else that you could possibly do. So that was kind of the basis of it. We wanted you to get from the start to place order in as few clicks as possible or taps as possible. And then we also, recognized from the front, I think it was, we just recognized the importance of being mobile-based, and that has come to fruition. Mm-hmm. So we're seeing about 4 out of every 5 orders through our application are on mobile devices. Mm-hmm. So we built intentionally for mobile, and of course, when you're on mobile, you call it tapping instead of clicking. Right.
That's true. Yeah.
So altogether, it just became, we tried to communicate, get through as quickly as possible, and now you're eating, and then we're all happy. Yeah.
I like it. It's like you tap to select your food, tap to pay, and then you eat.
Yeah.
Ideally, yeah.
Right.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Easy peasy.
And early on, we would track. So we would track when a user would hit the page first, and then we would track when they check out, just kind of looking through our logs. And, and we don't do that much. Sam asked me how many orders we had today, and I don't even know. We don't pay as close of attention. But once upon a time, boy, we sure did.
Yeah.
Every order through, we were watching closely, and I remember seeing some of the early orders, and a pizza order for All American Pizza. And the customer was on the page for like 38 seconds, and by the time they hit their place, and I was like, "That's a win!"
Awesome.
Yeah, so
that's awesome.
We never really farmed that data and turned it into something. I wish we would have. Maybe we still can. I don't know, but
it would be an interesting metric to look at,
sure.
To see throughout the years or throughout the months, like how less of time clients are spending on the, because I mean that would be such a huge thing, like, it just took me 20 seconds to just like order what I want,
I'll jump it back a little bit. We talked about Mark's and Starbucks order, and I look at it kind of the same way as like Starbucks, a $1 billion company. They can afford the technology team to be able to do whatever they want, and that's in my mind kind of also how TapTapEat was born. Was well, it's kind of not fair. It's not fair for the small mom and pops to literally compete against billion-dollar companies and the technology that they can bring to market and get it out there to consumers. And so it's like, well, if we build a platform and then make sure we can customize it for every single individual restaurant to what that restaurant needs and wants, whether it's a weekly special or being able to put cheese in your whatever it is,
jelly on your eggs.
It's exactly right. Like
strawberry
jelly on your eggs on your grilled egg sandwich. So that we wanted to be able to bring something like that to market and kind of rinse and repeat, to be able to give every restaurant out there, or whether it's Chef Curry to Go or Alfredo's or Cafe Basil, customizations that they want, that their cooks and their owners want to be able to offer their customers.
Yeah.
And just kind of grew from there.
Yeah, because I mean, as accessible as technology is, I mean, if you take an example of Amazon versus the Walmarts and Targets, right? How long did it take Walmart and Target to essentially, at this point, you could say they've kind of caught up to Amazon in terms of how you can order on their site and the service that you might get through that online order and their, all of that stuff. How long did it take a big company like that to get to the point where they're like, hey, yeah, you can order online. That's not a problem. And then you expect, it's obviously as accessible as technology is, making it work the right way and work for you. That's still a pretty big barrier because everyone, like you're saying, has custom needs, right? Where whether it's strawberry jelly or jam, it could be jam, who knows? Whatever it is that they want to do on their menu. So as you were starting off, it's been about 4 years since you've been operational online. What have you seen? What's changed? Because I mean, in terms of online ordering platforms, there are a bunch of them, right? So like, what sets you apart? What were you going in with saying you should use TapTapEat versus, I don't even know which other ones are out there. How'd that go?
Initially, one of the cool features that we brought was that we would print the order straight to the kitchen. So our very first client, Alfredo's, really insisted that. We worked with a guy named Kelly Allen, who was a friend of mine from a long time ago. And he said, listen, if you don't get the order all the way back to the kitchen, then you're not saving me anything over a phone call.
Because then they need someone to be able to run
Right.
that order back.
That's right.
Right.
Or they had delivery tablets. So they had your Postmates tablet and your DoorDash tablet, and the tablets just buzz at you. And then they hand key in the order to the point of sale system, and that takes it back to the kitchen for print.
That
so
just
Still
adds
that
one more
person's
step.
in there.
That's right.
And dual entry.
Yeah.
And they're going to make some mistakes inevitably, with any number of orders that go back. And so, I've got some gratitude to Kelly for insisting, hey, you guys have to print it, because that was our first really big hurdle to tackle, at least on the to-go side. So when an order went in, Alfredo's Mexican Cafe, they have 4 printers back there. And order goes in, and within a matter of seconds, we figured out how to skip all of the middle stuff and literally print it straight back to their kitchen workers.
Nice.
And that brought the efficiency that we were really after. And we were able to sell that feature, I think, quite a bit. I think industry has caught up to that. There are other groups out there that now will print to the kitchen. We still do, I think, a really remarkable job of it. But that was a big one early on.
Nice. And that's not an easy task, because you probably have to integrate with their point of sale system and then basically interface with them to be able to print in the back, because you can't just connect to a printer and hit
Yeah.
print.
Well, actually, the opposite is true.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Okay.
So by design, what Mark and I decided right off was like, it doesn't make sense to integrate with the point of sale. There's literally hundreds of point
Right.
of sales out there, and it's hard to scale that. Like, we would have to write integration software for every single point of sale. And so it made a lot more sense to, if we're going to take that order from the customer, let's own it ourselves all the way to when we print it out. A lot of printers out there, like kitchen receipt printers, are IP based. And kind of my experience is like, if you've got an interface, that I can connect to over IP, I can print to it. So we install a little device in every restaurant. It's a little thin client. And that device goes and checks, hey, does this location have any orders? It brings it down. And then we print it exactly to the same printer that the point of sale prints to. So that's where we bypass the point of sale by design. And that's where we can also offer anything that the restaurant wants. Because if we do integrate with the point of sale, we're limited by the integration functionality that every different point of sale has. And
Nice.
they're all different. And
Yeah.
some
Yeah.
are the limiting factor. And we've come across plenty of restaurants that are frustrated with their online system, because it doesn't allow you to put cheese or strawberry on
That
your egg,
customization,
because
yeah.
they can't customize it, because the point of sale integration is limiting that ability.
So in 2020, that has been such a crazy year for everyone. How has your team grown in that year? Because I'm sure you guys have had like so much more growth because of consumers having to only rely on online ordering and to go and take out. Did you guys have to bring on a lot more people? And
No, we just managed it all ourselves.
There was nothing else happening in 2020, right?
No, we couldn't bring on people fast enough. So
Wow.
this story, it's a story of excitement, but also a story of pain, because we hired our first full-time staff in January of 2020. So that's
Hey, you were ahead of the ball.
yeah, a little bit, and he had just graduated college, and he was kind of getting his feet wet, in our business, and he was a real help for sure. But we got to middle of March in 2020, and we, the COVID dominoes were just falling one by one, and we were sitting there wondering, it sounds funny to say now, but is this going to impact us negatively or positively? We really didn't know.
Could either go
no
either
one knew
way.
anything
That's right.
when it happened, right?
That's
it was
right.
just like, what's about to, like, if restaurants had to shut down.
Completely. That was
Yeah.
a fear of ours. Like, man, are we even going to have revenue this month?
Yeah.
And that quickly turned into almost a nightmarish, onslaught of online ordering. So, one particular Friday night, literally 2 weeks into the pandemic, we were measuring about 3 times the volume than we had ever seen. So
Wow.
take our maximum day so far, multiply that by 3. and that's the amount of orders that we were doing, which is really exciting. It's like, wow, are we going to hit 2,000 today, or and it came with problems. So our infrastructure, the ability to handle that many users on the site at one time, we just couldn't grow by a factor of 3 in 2 weeks' time. And
Why not?
Trust me, we were trying. So we were managing every restaurant's idea of, hey, let's do this family package, and hey, let's.
You were probably getting a lot of custom requests from a lot of the existing clients rather than, and I'm sure you also had an influx of people wanting to sign on,
yes,
right?
we did.
It's both, yeah.
Oh my gosh.
So this same thing that we described a few minutes ago, our printing system that was really a staple of our system, where we cut out the middleman. Nobody had to look at a tablet; it just automatically worked, and our clients really depended on that. That print system started failing at peak times. And there was nothing that we could do about it. We were relying on a Google service that was provided, and usually Google is fairly reliable. But come Friday night, when everybody's ready for their takeout during COVID, that was failing, and so literally our restaurants could not access the data that they needed to.
Oh man, yeah.
And customers would show up expecting food and hungry, and restaurants weren't equipped to be able to do it.
Because the order went through, but it never got made.
It wasn't translated onto
so they
kitchen.
paid for it, but the kitchen doesn't know. And so we worked as fast as we possibly could, and we effectively wrote our own printing mechanism as opposed to using that third-party mechanism. And we did that at the same time that we were managing all of these requests and influx, and then with one other staff member. And so those were sleepless.
Oh my gosh.
Those were tough days.
Yeah.
It went from exciting, wow, look at all this that's happening, to, like I said, almost kind of nightmarish. Like, we created a monster. We can't possibly keep in front of this thing. And eventually we did. We eventually caught up. But
which is why we're sitting here right now.
Yeah.
Yeah, just yesterday we caught up. But we had to say a lot of I'm sorries to our clients and to our customers. We had to say a lot of, like, man, we're going as fast as we can.
Yeah.
We feel you. We're sorry. We had to answer a lot of angry phone calls as well.
Probably, yeah.
Stressful time.
Yeah.
I bet that there was a lot of grace too in those times, because it wasn't just, the people trying to help provide the service, but it was just everyone, I mean, I'm sure that restaurants too were struggling with their staff, and I don't know. From
the clients that we had for a while, there was a lot of grace. They trusted our service. They knew us. We had that relationship established. They knew we were doing everything to restore services. But like you said, we signed on a lot of clients very quickly. So to them, they knew no different. All they know is, like, okay, we just signed on with these guys, and their stuff doesn't work.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And that was at that point 100% of their sales, right?
A large percentage. Yeah.
Well, I mean, a lot of clients still take in call-in orders too.
Yeah.
But
they couldn't take them in nearly fast enough.
Not as fast as we still could.
Yeah. So it was a proving ground for us, and we lost a few key clients over it, that were trying us out at that time, and we missed the mark. But most of them, we said, listen, this is not standard for us.
Right.
Give us a little grace. We're going to get through it. We did get through it, and then we've been dependable ever since.
Nice.
Yeah, but I would add, like, there's the opposite of that story too. Is like, there was Google Print still keeps me up, but during the when the restaurants couldn't have dine-in customers, they were limited by their phones, those that could take call-in orders, and we were able to service a lot of orders and help restaurants. And I kind of joke, it's like locals. We're a local Oklahoma company helping local Oklahomans be able to order from their local favorite restaurants. Whereas, like, if we weren't there, they would be literally, dependent on platform apps, and platform apps take up to 30% of the total of the order total from the restaurants. I mean, they're already being squeezed. They can't offer any dine-in. They can only take call-in orders or platform orders. So, on the flip side is that I think we were a saving grace for a lot of our restaurants. At some point we'll get testimonials up on our site, but we've asked before, and there's a lot out there that is like, you saved my dad's restaurant kind of, testimonials out there during COVID, and so it's just nice. Like I like
Yeah.
being able to help locals and a small technology company here in Oklahoma supporting local Oklahoma customers.
Yeah.
Thanks for saying that, Sam, because I'm obviously critical as kind of our lead developer, and Sam does some amazing things in development and infrastructure too, so I don't want to sell him short. But, when we miss the mark, I feel it. It's a personal, this is my product. We brought this to market.
Yeah.
But Sam's always really good to remind us of the good that we're doing and remind us of the successes. And so there was a lot of success there. We had a lot of happy clients. And a lot of clients, interesting, you asked how the product came together. And I said, well, as a consumer, we wanted to put a solution there that increased the efficiency of ordering instead of having to wait on the phone. Well, that's exactly the problem that we solved.
Yeah.
That problem right there got exposed in those first few weeks of COVID, where if you tried to call into a restaurant, all you got was a busy tone.
Yeah.
Especially when you've got things that are limited release, right? Especially when people are like, oh, this is like 50 items are being made of this. You can call right at 4 to order it. And then you're like, okay, I'm going to call right at 4 to order it. And then it's just like, okay, it's busy. I hang up, try calling again. Still busy. I hang up and try calling it, right? But you could just jump online and place an order there. And
that's right.
And that kind of, I guess, a nice segue into one of the things that I think you all had a reasonably sized role in playing. You played a pretty big role in bringing Sando Ichi to Oklahoma City, right?
That's right.
So for the people listening, if you haven't heard about Sando Ichi, go back about 6 episodes, can't remember, one of the 60s. We had Keith from Sando Ichi on talking about their pop-up concept. It's a Japanese sandwich concept that was in Oklahoma City for about 3 weeks. And TapTapEat.
Brings the heat.
As a new, let's check GoDaddy and see if that one's taken.
You all had a role to play in that. So tell us that story a little bit, how that developed, how you talked. Because that Sando Ichi is obviously like a pretty famous pop-up concept that has gone across the country. And for them to call Oklahoma City one of their stops in their home I think that's a pretty big deal for Oklahoma to be on the map as a foodie city in that sense. So tell us that story. How'd that transpire?
Yeah, it really transpired. It started the relationship of just kind of a Facebook message and asking, like,
As
hey,
all great relationships.
Right. I met this person online.
Sliding into their DMs, like, hey.
Okay, Keith will get a kick out of that.
You swipe right.
I don't. I'm married. Yeah.
I'm taking
Me too.
19 years. And want to make it to 20.
So he always swipes left, okay?
No,
that's what it is.
Yeah. Speaking of tech, I don't know what you're talking about, actually. Maybe aging myself. We ended up striking up a good conversation, and I got on a call with Keith. He's kind of like their operations guy, and met with him, kind of explained to what we do and the custom work that we do for restaurants. And everything that he asked, we essentially had an answer for, because we've just seen it. We've been around. We've been around for 4 years. But I think in a startup world, which I would still kind of claim we are, and in this kind of industry, online ordering in the restaurant is still really young and in infancy. For us to be able to, we have an answer for that to every one of his questions, I think kind of impressed him. And then we followed up with kind of deep-tailed conversations. And that's where, we put together a little platform for their company that specializes in the pop-up. And he, their customer base, I think when they sold Houston was like 20 to 30,000 people on their site. And I was like, well, I've never done anything like that. And so we had to find just tools to see if we can even handle that kind of load. And it became another, it was like pretty blatant of like, yeah, we can't handle that kind of load. So we had to go through iterations of, infrastructure changes. And they were a great client of ours to be able to help push us to kind of that next level. From that just kind of continued to grow. I want to let Mark speak to this too. But it's just continued to grow, and future business opportunities from them. I don't know if it's under wraps, so I won't talk too much about them. But they've got new business opportunities that they want TapTapEat to be in on, for us to be able to develop technologies for their company. I'll kind of let you, Mark, jump in of like how we got them to come to Oklahoma City.
Yeah, well, as a developer, they just one of the things that just makes us tick is like, give us a good problem to solve, and they brought a good problem to solve. Like, how can we sell 8,000 sandwiches
in 5 minutes?
Yes.
Oh my gosh.
And keep everything straight and make sure we don't oversell. And so it brought live inventory for us. It brought infrastructure changes, and they were a testament to them. We were trying to get ready for San Francisco was going to be their next big pop-up, and so we were working really hard, and we got about probably 10 days out or so, and we found the right tools to test, like, how do you simulate this many thousand users in this amount of time, and we had to work. It kind of derailed us from our development because we just had to know, can we even do this? And we got to it, and the answer was no. So as bad as we wanted to sell thousands of dollars of sandwiches for them, we couldn't. And we had to tell them that and say, listen, we're going to get to the finish line. And we used our running analogy, by the way, 'cause that's when we told them about our running careers, and said, listen, if any two guys are going to get to the finish line, we are. And they stayed with us, and so we had to wait till after San Francisco. And in San Francisco, I actually went to San Francisco and met with Keith for the very first time there. And we actually took all of their data from their Shopify system that they were using and wrote a script to pull it into our system so that we could do all the backside processing, all the printing. So when they show up and provide their order number, then we'll print it back to the kitchen. So we got to show that side of things early on. And that was a good show for us. They're like, okay, yeah, they saw the light. This is working.
They were sold with that.
Yeah, and a lot of communication pieces, sending text messages to customers and emails and whatnot. So we had all of that stuff ready for the backside. But I started nudging Keith and saying, Oklahoma City, it'd be a pretty good little market. And kind of half joking, and he took it as a joke. Honestly, the first couple times, you kind of blew it off, and it's like, well, we're bigger than that.
Right. I mean,
those are not his words.
But that's kind of the problem Oklahoma City has faced for a long time. And I think this perception is changing a little bit. You're still thinking like it's a small city, not a lot going on. But when people actually see it or experience it or do their research into it, they're like, okay, this is not what I thought it was.
Yeah.
Right?
People are surprised. And I feel like for us that we weren't born and raised in Oklahoma, I've seen how much exponential growth the city has had in just the last 5-7 years. But something that is interesting about Keith is that he does have some connection to Oklahoma. So I bet at first maybe it was like a joke, but then really was like, but really though.
Yeah.
So how did the truth come out?
Yeah. So, well, they decided they were going to go to Denver next, and I'm kind of like, are you sure? And they just, every time they go to a new place, there's so many logistics that have to work, and they just were running into some roadblocks or hurdles, on the way to getting ready for Denver, and that just kind of kept giving me the opportunity to kind of nudge them a little bit.
Why not just do this?
Well, and it came down to it, and they were due in Denver in 2 weeks, but it was very clear that they weren't going to be ready. Not Santoichi, but the restaurant side, all the logistics in Denver weren't fitting into place. Yeah. And so he said, can you get us a spot in Oklahoma City in 2 weeks? And we did. We've got some connections here with the small restaurant community that we have here. And so we called up 84 Hospitality and Rachel Cope, and knowing that they had where Goro Ramen used to be, and I thought, man, what a perfect spot, and it worked out beautifully, and we spent 2 weeks really helping them kind of drum up some attention from around here, social media attention and stuff, and it was a new area for us to be in as well, but it was definitely an exciting time. But yeah, and then they loved it. Yeah, they absolutely loved Oklahoma City.
And I could say as a consumer, I loved it.
Good, yeah.
Their sandwiches are awesome.
Yeah, they were really good.
I set a personal best for number of sandwiches eaten in a week.
Oh, really?
Yeah. They went viral. I mean, I've seen them online. I've heard about them. I knew that they were huge in LA, and I just thought, man, when am I going to be in LA to try this? And then they just
you don't have to be.
You just got to know people like me and Sam.
Yeah.
Exactly. Gosh, I'm so lucky.
So, kind of seeing all those, like that landscape of food shift a little bit, and you're probably more in tune with that trend and what's happening more than what we are.
Yeah.
Because you're like actually in the nitty gritty numbers, details. What do you see happening in the future? Is there something that's exciting on the horizon, or do you think we've passed like that influx point where like, okay, we hit that point, now we're just growing? Like, what do you see happening in the future?
I've got my answer, but I want to hear Sam's first.
I hope we're on the same page. I mean, to be honest, in the short term and long term, I feel like there's still a lot of uncertainty of what's going to happen. Just with COVID is still kind of out there. But the way I explain COVID to people in my own, interpretation is COVID sped everything up. So online ordering was, coming around, and when we were trying to sell, 3-4 years ago, it's like, I don't know. I don't, not really. It's not really something that we want to be focusing on right now. And there would get a few takers, and there'd get some restaurants that kind of give you that spill. But, fast forward to COVID, and everybody wants online ordering. Everyone sees the efficiency that it can bring. So I think that's in my mind, like what COVID has done is sped all this stuff up to go online. The different trends of like ordering at the table, I don't know, like some people like it still, some people don't. Paying at the table, some people like it, some people don't. But I do know like all these restaurants that are signing up for it, it is costly. It's costly to have a service that integrates to be able to pay at your table, or have a service that allows their customers to order food at their table. So I don't really know, but I do see probably in the long run a lot more consolidation of platform apps, a lot more consolidation. Like the ma and pas that wanted to get into online ordering because of COVID, I don't think they're going to last. It's not an easy business to be in. And it's just like any kind of startup or any kind of small business, you're tied to some customers, and if they leave or you have problems, like it's hard to run a small business. So I would say like in just the general online ordering, we're going to see a collapse of some of those businesses. I think platform apps will continue to see consolidation of those. Just about every POS now is offering some kind of online ordering presence, even though that's not their cup of tea. Like they've built a really, really good solid product for restaurants and the infrastructure that's needed, but either they're going to grow into that space and get a lot better at it, or they're going to just leave it up to others to integrate with them. So
right. Or it's like a little checkbox that they're like, hey, we've got an online ordering system that you can use. It may not be perfect for you, but it's there.
Yeah. No, you're absolutely right. Like if you're running a POS, it's kind of like they want to make it an option, but their developers have been building this product forever. And if, either the business needs to focus on that, or they need to continue to focus on their, I'm going to call it like a brick and mortar POS, their traditional POS.
Right.
Yeah. But this is where you guys come in that critical time where these mom and pop restaurants, not just in Oklahoma, but I'm sure like in a lot of other states, you can either try to come out of this, this really scary situation that we're in right now that could potentially, get a little worse with COVID numbers rising again. But if you have an alternative local service that you can go to that's not going to be Like, I mean, you're actually dealing with people. If you're dealing with problems, you can call. I'm sure you guys have, you know, your employees that are from here, Oklahoma City. I think that gives so much hope, and they feel like, you know, there's like a light at the end of the tunnel. Like, we can get through this. We have an opportunity to integrate our restaurant into the digital world and not deal with like a conglomerate, you know, like online ordering service, but just a local.
Absolutely.
TapTapEat.
That's something that I've always brought to TapTapEat is I think service is a big deal. Making sure you're giving really good service to your customers. In our case, it's the restaurants. I know when I go talk to restaurants and they're telling me like I have to wait 2 hours on hold to get my money back because that driver never came and picked up my phone. Like that hurts them. Like they don't have the time to do that. Yeah. So I want to make sure our phone can always be answered.
Oh, or the extra money. Right.
That's right. They've got to call, you know, to get that money back from a platform app. They got to call to get that money back. They made the food. The driver didn't pick it up. So
or it got misdelivered, so they're still out the food.
That's right.
Right.
So they want to get, you know, they want to make sure they get paid. So it's a big deal. So you know, Mark and I was like, let's make sure we invest in making sure we can answer the phone because it's, you know, in my opinion, it's not fair. We're going to provide a service. We're going to, you know, make sure that our customers are taken care of. And absolutely, it's really nice that it's locals calling a local, you know, shop for that service.
Yeah.
For sure.
They know the restaurants. They know the audience, the clients. It makes a huge difference.
I'll answer your trends question a little bit from a different angle. So I'm not a foodie. I'm turning into more of a foodie, I think, but
we'll take it.
But just with my narrow, well, I don't do jelly on the eggs, but just with my narrow vision,
though, right?
I'll try, just about anything. With my narrow vision, you know, and I think part of this is just kind of growing up in Oklahoma City. So in high school, in college time, you know, where would we go out to eat? Chili's, Applebee's, you know, Red Lobster. And I think now that age has kind of gone. I don't think that most high school or college kids are taking their dates to those places. And if I can put my finger on why, I think it's largely due to a social media trend. Same reason that you found out about Sandwichi and you wanted to order from them. They would not have gone anywhere in the early 2000s because they didn't have that medium to market and reach directly to their potential consumers. And so the shift that I've seen that is exciting is you get more players at the table. You know, I think it's a better time than ever for restaurateurs to try their ideas, because if they can market directly to the right people, then you know they can develop that following and develop a name for themselves. So I think. And we found this out during COVID as well, during the shutdown. You know, social media marketing was huge. I would have never imagined how big it would be for restaurants and keeping them going. And I think what we're going to see is now, you know, just leveraging of that to continue to grow those brands.
Until the algorithms change and they completely nullify everything that people have learned to do.
And then the other thing, I mean, there's like drone technology coming out. I mean, could you imagine ordering and a drone flies it to your door?
It delivers your pad thai for you. Look at that.
I've only heard of such things.
Hopefully, it's going to get the address right, you know? we deal
or
with
you could have some meals with your neighbor, you know? That's all right.
Brought to you by TapTapEat.
God, so cool.
Tap, tap, drop. No.
Tap, drop.
You heard it
No,
first.
gently put down.
We deliver directly to your mouth.
Oh my gosh.
That'd be. I can see some funny videos like that.
I would also just kind of add more on, you know, as we've seen the industry change. Like I've seen absolutely like more, you know, less chain. I mean, not that they're not out there. There's definitely a lot of chain restaurants out there.
But their domination is getting smaller, right?
That's right.
So,
like it's kind of like follows, or I think maybe just parallels, like this, you know, the craft breweries. There used to be just very few, you know, beer out there. Now you can get a whole bunch of different kinds, and it's like
maybe too many.
Too many.
Yeah.
It's hard to be like, there's so many choices. Be like, what am gonna get?
Yeah. So I think like it's kind of gone in parallel with just like a craft restaurants or chefs wanting to go do their own thing, or it's just becoming a new thing. And again, that's kind of where TapTapEat, and it comes from all over, whether it's like a pop-up or just a ghost kitchens are now a thing where you're only doing delivery, or you're only doing to go, or we've seen a lot of our clients want to do catering and curbside. We've done room service, so we kind of, whatever our clients want, we've kind of seen just different options out there, and we've kind of built our platform to be able to handle for whatever delivery type that our client today and in the future wants.
Nice. That's cool. It's nice to see that you are maintaining like a flexible attitude to be like, we can respond to anything that changes in the industry or what our client needs, because every restaurant is different. That's why they're a different restaurant.
Yeah, and now more than ever too, because it's like you have to reinvent yourself. If you're not going to have people coming out to your restaurant, like what are you going to do as somebody that's like providing food to your
There's
audience?
a lot more to think about than just maybe the food,
Yeah.
right? There's a lot that goes into it. So I am sure, and with the success that you all have had, people, obviously, you're doing a great job.
Yeah.
So
I'm excited to see what's next
I know.
for you guys.
Me too.
Maybe the tap drop. I don't know.
Tap drop, yes.
That's on the strategic plan.
That's a 5-year goal.
I mean, in the short term, though, we are working, specifically, these are client requests. Some of our clients want us to build a portal where it's a lot easier to get to their restaurants. So we're actively working on that. And then there's, we're working on, we call it a marketing view, but it effectively, like when we sell, we're selling, a custom portal for our restaurant, for our customer, for our client.
So like more for reporting back.
Yeah,
end?
all that data is effectively, the restaurants. It goes back to the Starbucks. All that data that goes to the Starbucks app or the Starbucks portal, ultimately Starbucks gets. We're building more automations into that to where the restaurants can go get, the email addresses or the phone numbers or whatever data that they want in bulk effectively. Those are the two things that we're really focusing on right now. And you asked kind of, or jokingly asked, like, what's next? That is what's next. That's what we're actively developing on right now.
Oh, that's going to help these restaurants grow so much, just being able to look at their metrics and saying, where are we excelling? Where are we lacking? And then just kind of focusing on that. That's so neat. So I don't know if we're ready for this, Nabil, but moving on to our next section.
You're talking about the kitchen sink?
The kitchen
Which
sink.
really is kind of like a limited sink today, but we'll throw some stuff in there to keep it interesting.
Yeah, how about it?
Well, since you started it, ask the first question.
So for a kitchen sink, basically it's obviously food related. So I'm just going to start off with the first question. Is there any new restaurant that you guys have heard of that you're eager to go visit or try that you haven't yet?
Because you're
But it's
saying
just
you're
like-
becoming a foodie.
Yeah.
Right? You're trending toward. I mean, when you're working so closely with restaurants, I feel like it would be hard not to like get into the food.
Trust
Yeah,
me, we
for
order
sure.
from ourselves a lot.
Yeah.
Oh, good.
Too much.
Yeah.
Hey, it's like a discount, right?
Yes, yeah, we kind of see it that way. But, really more so we want to, more than, getting a discount or paying ourselves.
Yeah.
We love our partners. Like we want to support them. They made a good decision, we feel like, in going with TapTapEat. So we are excited to just add more orders to them online. But a new client that is coming on is Azteca. Another Mexican restaurant. I mentioned earlier the salsas from the last week. So I'm looking forward to kind of putting Azteca up to Alfredo's and Chilinos. We'll see.
Awesome. So where is Azteca? I don't think I've been there before.
It is just north of I-44 on May.
Okay.
And I
Nice.
used to go to their restaurant before it was Azteca, and I can't remember the name of it, but it was previously a Mexican restaurant. But they do a lot of business, so we're excited to work with them.
Nice.
I'm also excited. We just signed up 2 others. Sincerely Coffee Roasters. We'll be bringing them on really soon.
Nice.
They're downtown. Some excellent roast there. That's one of the things that they do is homegrown roasted coffee. And then the other that I'm also really excited about because I love ice cream is Dolce Paradiso.
Oh,
We're
nice.
going to be bringing them on board. Yeah. So we're actively working on all 3 of their menus right now. But Mark's about the hot sauce, and I'm about the ice cream and the coffee.
It's a balance, right?
Yeah, it's good stuff. Yeah, it's really fun.
Yeah. So what about you, Sam? Any place that you want to go try out that you haven't been to yet?
That I haven't been to yet. There's, I think they just opened a second location, and I still have yet to be able to make contact with their owner. But I don't know exactly the restaurant's name. It's like Plant. Are you familiar with this?
Is it Plant OKC?
I think
Something
so.
like that?
Yeah, or like their website's like, I'm gonna butcher, like Plant. Eat Plant, something like that.
I think so. Yeah, I think they just opened a new location in downtown
Downtown, like
Edmond.
Midtown or Edmond. One of them. Yeah,
There's one on Western, I think. And then their new one is in the rail yard.
The rail
something.
yard.
Yeah.
That's like downtown Edmond.
Yeah.
I haven't been there. Their food looks incredible on Instagram and on their website. So that's in my queue to get to. Not only to hopefully sell them, but yeah, I love trying the food at the restaurants that
Nice.
we work with.
Yeah.
I haven't been there yet either, but their smoothies, like you guys were saying, like social media is like such an important tool now. The pictures they take of the food and their smoothies are really, really beautiful.
Really unique. They do like a running yoga stuff in the morning, and then you can get like a lunch. I have not partaken in any of that, but maybe
So
Mark will.
That's what it takes to get the sell. I'm sure you will.
I'll still probably beat somebody in the mile there.
Well, you wouldn't throw the race to get a client?
Some clients would be frustrated, like, you didn't give it your all.
Yeah, I don't hold back. That's not fun. Obviously, very experienced in the food pickup realm. What type of cuisine do you think travels the best when it's to go?
Pizza, barbecue, and I found ramen. Japanese ramen does really well because they package it separate. The noodles in its own little container and the broth in its own little container. So those 3 to me come to mind.
Mark hit the first 2, pizza and barbecue. I think travels really well. Delivery and to go. I never thought about ramen, and the story that I Mark didn't even touch on it was how we ended up getting Goro ramen downtime. I believe that the chef did not like any kind of delivery app, mainly because
he didn't do delivery because he didn't want the quality of his ramen to be.
And so
that makes sense.
my hunch, I've never asked him, but I think they had to change the way they packaged the ramen to really help the quality. But it's like you live or die by what's going on. And COVID's like you need to deliver to stay in business, or you need to go to stay in business, and you want to make sure the quality's still up. So ramen does travel really well, and that is a favorite spot. Both Goro and Tamashi is another client of ours.
Yeah.
And, they have excellent chicken fried rice.
Every Monday.
Yeah, I remember getting to go from Goro because Chef Jeff has been on the podcast before, and obviously we've talked, and that's why it was like he was very adamant about not doing to go. And then obviously he had to, because of the situations of the year. But like I did think that was very thoughtful the way it came to go, because every ingredient was separated so that you could reconstruct your ramen and it wasn't taken away from the quality of the ramen. Probably a little better when it's at the restaurant, but that's as close as you can get at home. So I thought like that when you see that thought going into it from the restaurant, I appreciate that. Just that extra bit.
Yep, for sure.
Well, it's not just a meal. I mean, it's like an experience, like ramen. That's how it is. Can you imagine the ingredients would be kind of like soggy. Just imagining
if it was just mixed in and
if it's just all together. It's kind of like with pho too. Like it can't. Well, even pre-COVID, when you go order pho and it's takeout, they always separate the ingredients for you because that's that's the experience.
Mm-hmm.
You're putting it in there
Yeah,
yourself.
and you don't want the noodles to like take up all the broth. Now you just have.
Exactly.
You said they have udon
Yeah.
noodles now.
Exactly. Yeah. Yeah. Which, by the way, just since we're talking in this vein of takeout, I noticed you guys don't have any pho restaurants. So just
We
kind of want
don't
to
yet,
put
no.
that little bug in your ear.
Okay.
Yeah, you did
'Cause
do a
I
lot
do.
of research.
It's a challenge. Yeah.
I don't know. My favorite restaurants, I mean, it's okay. I have them on speed dial. I'll just like call them and be like, hi, I'm, ordering this, and then I'll be over like in 20 minutes. But it would be more convenient to be able to get online and just like order.
You just have your favorites, right? Like,
Yeah.
Okay.
You tell
Yeah.
me what your favorites are, and I will call them.
Oh my gosh. I'm just going to, okay, Pho Lin Hua and Pho Kung. Do you have you guys
I
been
do
to
like
this place?
seven.
Seven is a good place too.
Seven's good. Pho 54 has good pho.
All right, we'll try to bring you lots of options
Yeah.
coming up. Yeah.
I mean, I have talked to a couple pho restaurants, and they haven't gone anywhere. But
Crossing my fingers.
maybe their number one customer can help sway them.
You feel like we need something to compete with the ramen.
Yeah. I'll just tag them when this episode comes out and be
There you
like,
go.
you better listen, you guys. We're talking about you.
That's funny. And then the final question, not that we've asked you a lot of them, but probably the most difficult one. Your favorite restaurant in Oklahoma City, and what do you get from it?
Yeah, so that's not difficult for me, but I have to answer
Oh,
with two
hey,
restaurants.
that's okay.
So kind of casual dining, I have to go with the Hall's Pizza Kitchen. And their pizza is
Oh my
better than any other pizza in the world. And then get a...
In the world?
Yep.
Ooh, wait.
I
have nothing
Have you been
to
to Halls?
compete. Yeah, and I was like, I can't think of anything that I would even say is better. But yeah,
I feel like
hey,
you would agree then,
yeah.
Nabila. I mean, you
no.
hold Halls up here too.
I do hold Halls pretty high. Yeah.
I've got a pretty big family on both sides, and I have had a lot of out-of-town family members come and eat at Halls and literally say the same. I don't have to tell them that. In fact, I try not to because I try not to set the expectation.
Right.
So
I just say it's really good pizza.
yeah, it's very, very good. Yeah. So get the not so daily salad at the beginning, and then get the beat the heat. Yeah, obviously I like the spice stuff. but-
Yeah.
But that's for
Talking my
kind
language.
of more casual
Yeah.
dining. But otherwise, to me, nobody beats Cheevers around
my
here
gosh.
for a little bit more formal dining. It is so good, and I just go with their chicken fried steak every time. It's there are
Yeah.
more. That's kind of a boring dish maybe compared to some of them.
Chicken
But
fried steak if you make
man.
it exciting. Ooh, man.
and started off with the Juan's Chihuahua queso. It's a good meal.
Mark, have you
Nice.
tried their spicy shrimp risotto?
No.
Since you like the spicy,
No.
it's really good.
Okay.
It's like even if I order
There's
an
not
entree,
enough room in my stomach after the chicken fried steak.
I don't
he
blame
can't
you.
not get the chicken fried steak.
Yeah.
But I'll just say, like, if I order an entree and it doesn't come with the spicy
Good.
shrimp risotto, I always ask for a portion of it on the
Okay.
side because
Oh, so it's a side.
It comes. I'm pretty sure it's a part of some sort of entree, but you can ask for it on the side
Oh,
if you
hey,
want
okay.
to.
So you can get your chicken fried steak and spicy shrimp risotto.
risotto,
Yeah.
yeah.
And take some home. I
Yeah,
guess. Just,
take
you know,
it
split up a little
home
bit.
and then take
Put it
their
on
bread
the steak.
too.
Nothing wrong. You mix everything.
Surf and turf.
There you go.
Those were great answers, Mark.
Did I steal yours?
No, like those are two of the top ones. The Halls, it's good stuff. But not to you do something different. I would say probably one of my favorites is Cafe Basel. They're another client of ours. They just do really, really good food, and I'm just traditional. I'll get a skewer of veggies and a skewer of chicken, and I'm good with that. Another one of my favorites, besides Halls, of course, would be couscous and shish mahal. Those are some of my go-tos. The chicken burrito at couscous. My young daughter and I have fond memories of splitting their 2 chicken burritos and going to a park and eating them. It's pretty nice. And then shish mahal I just can't go wrong with their butter chicken and tiki masala, and it's good stuff. And their naan, I love it.
Nice. Yeah. Shish Mahal, me and my friend went there It's honestly very hard for me to, and I'm not saying that I don't like Shish Mahal, because I did enjoy their food, but it's hard for me to go out for Pakistani food because my mom will make it at home.
Oh yeah.
And
Sure.
what are you going to compete with that?
No.
You can't, right? I mean, I could put that on TapTapEat. We should talk.
Your mom want to go into business? Okay. No client too small.
Yeah. Well, actually, Nabil's wife, Serena, I mean, her dad is in the Pakistani.
Oh, he is. Yeah.
Restaurant.
So they've got a couple restaurants in Houston and Dallas, and they're
Okay.
Pakistani food, and so it's happening.
It's good stuff.
I'll keep you in mind when they want to expand into Oklahoma.
Absolutely. So we'll go down to
Yeah,
Texas.
we've got clients in Texas. We do. It's kind of interesting. On Q, a few years ago, started putting restaurants in their gas station. And they were one of our first clients, like in our first 10 or so.
Yeah.
Nice.
Yeah, they've got locations all over.
Oh yeah.
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 So yeah, we're not just Oklahoma City Metro, but this is what we do focus our sales area on. But we are beyond the borders.
Talking about OnQ, a little tangent. Like, are they doing their own concepts of restaurants, or are they bringing in different operators to come and run a restaurant?
No, it's theirs.
It's their stuff. Nice.
It's
Interesting.
different from the like Love Subway
Yeah.
type relationship.
Yeah.
It's the grill it on Q, and they manage it themselves and come up with the menus and
Interesting.
They do it all.
A gas station / restaurant. I mean, because a lot of people are stopping there because they'll pick up snacks, they'll pick up food because they're on a road trip. So that makes sense. Like, why wouldn't you serve them your own food? Sure. Right?
Yep.
So that's interesting.
They have more control of the quality of it too. I mean,
Well,
if it's
it's
in-house.
Yeah.
You're right. Yeah. And I would recommend you ought to try it. It's
The grill it on Q.
Mhm.
Okay. And I can order that online.
Mhm.
You can order it online.
You should
Nice.
actually.
I urge you.
That'd be interesting. I'll have to give them a try. Well, where can people follow TapTapEat, stalk your clients? What would you want them to do? Any last words?
Yeah, I'll go first and let my. This sounds like plug TapTapEat, right?
Yeah, essentially.
Yeah, we're on Instagram. There's other stories is like Mark and I weren't on Instagram. Maybe you were. I really wasn't on Instagram, but we've hired a lot of college kids right out of college, and it's like you guys need to be on Instagram. So they really help promote this. And then recently we hired, a marketing manager and another marketing girl that really helped us grow that space. So we're on Instagram, Facebook, and LinkedIn are where you can find us. And of course, you can go to TapTapEat.com and see kind of our different offerings. But effectively, like we've got ways to set delivery types of catering to go. We integrate with delivery services. So what that means is when we integrate with the delivery service like DoorDash or Uber Eats, we can do it at free charge as opposed to them charging you that 30% of that order total. Like we mentioned, like we do cool things like room service or tagging tickets as curbside. So pretty much whatever a restaurant can think of, or your mom or your mom. We'll put it online if you want us to. Yeah.
And we can all access, I think, all of the restaurants and your clients through your website. I notice you guys have their logos. You can just tap on it and it takes you straight to their ordering
And
platform.
we are revamping that as we speak, almost ready for production on that, where you can type in your pho search term and get all of the pho restaurants that we're going to have shortly.
Oh, that is awesome.
So
Shortly.
search by
I like that.
yeah. So we're kind of pivoting that direction as well.
Nice.
But yeah, all the things Sam said, the social media, and then TapTapEat.com, and then just order from your restaurant. As opposed to being a Postmates or a DoorDash or a Uber Eats customer. Order from your restaurant. Go to their website and place your order through them, because that gives the restaurant that you love and the people that you love that know you by name, they are in control of that space, and that is their preferred way to connect you to their services. So that's really the biggest thing, I think.
Yeah, and I mean, we didn't really touch upon this, and there's no real reason to touch upon it, but I'm assuming you take a slightly lesser cut than the 30% that most of the other
Significantly.
places do.
Yeah.
Yes, significantly.
DoorDash or the platform apps, they charge the restaurant up to 30% and the customer, and I've seen it up to 15%.
Yeah, service charges and all
on
that
both
stuff.
sides,
Yeah,
they're making money, and it wasn't even until recently that some of them were profitable, which just kind of blows my mind.
Right.
I mean,
that's the beauty of startups, right?
for TapTapEat's different.
Silicon Valley startups.
Silicon Valley startups,
Yeah.
yeah. But it's also kind of, in a weird way, it's what TapTapEat competes against. And like Mark and I were like, it was just both the way we were raised. It's like it just doesn't make sense to go into the red to start a business.
Right. That makes sense. Yeah. And while you're online showing TapTapEat some love, follow us as well on all of the social medias.
Yeah. You can find us on Instagram at OKC Foodcast, and then you can also follow us or find us on Facebook, and then also Twitter, because we just resuscitated our Twitter account. So now you can find us on Twitter. We'll be sharing all of our episodes and, retweeting a lot of our local foodie and other, Oklahomies who are sharing their love of food and, the people here. So find us there. And also, don't forget to send us some comments and your thoughts and any questions that you have through email too, okcfoodcast@gmail.com.
That's right. And if you haven't done so yet, hit that subscribe button so you know when the next episode is out. And share this podcast with a fellow food lover and spread the love of food in Oklahoma. And until next time, eat well and be happy.